Some people carry a heavy invisible burden that absolutely nobody else can truly see today. You find yourself constantly looking backward today, crushed by the immense weight of daily self-blame. Your extremely tired hands tightly grip shattered pieces, desperately holding on to every single past mistake. You constantly stare at broken reflections, endlessly replaying every single failure inside your exhausted mind. You walk through life today completely consumed by anxious thoughts, wondering what could be different. Incredibly heavy, invisible chains securely wrap around your weary soul, leaving you feeling entirely trapped. Whenever anything goes wrong around you today, you instantly start blaming yourself for every problem. You sit alone, silently remembering painful conversations, desperately wishing you could somehow change spoken words. You mistakenly believe today that you must personally carry immense responsibility for every dark storm. You are currently holding massive amounts of intense guilt you were never meant to carry. Watching close friends walk away leaves you deeply convinced today you personally caused every loss. You stand entirely frozen in place, severely overthinking and continually questioning every single past decision. Your highly exhausted, hurting heart constantly aches today while desperately wishing time could move backward. You sit quietly beside massive emotional baggage today, feeling entirely, utterly unable to let go. By silently carrying immense blame entirely alone, you are steadily allowing dark shame to grow. You continuously hold on to that heavy pain, brutally punishing yourself repeatedly for things long gone. Your anxious mind stays securely trapped, constantly and painfully reliving every single bad memory today. Yet even beneath this absolutely crushing weight, something deep inside your soul hopes for freedom. The heavy, painful past constantly keeps calling your weary name during these quiet, lonely moments. Those agonizing, extremely painful old memories absolutely refuse to stay safely buried in the past. You continuously focus intensely on every single tiny crack instead of seeing the beautiful whole. Standing completely frozen today, you endlessly and painfully question every single choice you ever made. You sit alone in absolute silence, constantly wondering who might still be sitting right here. Your tired hands desperately keep holding on to fading things that simply cannot ever return today. Staring upward into the deep darkness makes genuine forgiveness feel incredibly and hopelessly far away. This massive, invisible, crushing weight of terrible guilt forcefully follows your slow footsteps absolutely everywhere. Every single difficult step you take makes this agonizing emotional burden keep growing significantly heavier. Deep internal shame completely and tragically changes exactly how you constantly see your own reflection. Walking blindly through this incredibly dense, heavy fog makes your entire future feel totally uncertain. As time painfully passes, your remaining emotional energy slowly disappears into the dark, quiet shadows. Trying desperately to climb while carrying these massive, heavy stones makes forward progress feel impossible. This overwhelming dark shadow of lingering regret quickly becomes significantly larger than your actual reality. Your highly exhausted mind stays trapped as you replay painful old conversations endlessly and obsessively. You constantly sit completely alone with your heavy guilt while everyone else simply passes by. This devastating, paralyzing internal shame falsely convinces your weary spirit to completely stop moving forward. Yet even amidst this terrifying, blinding fog, Beautiful divine grace is already gently approaching you. Even in your darkest moments of isolation, Jesus steps in to bring his divine light. He approaches your weary soul not with harsh condemnation, but with endless grace and peace. Instead of judging your hidden mistakes, he looks upon your heavy heart with complete understanding. Jesus looks far beyond your surface guilt, clearly seeing the deep pain you secretly carry. He intimately knows the massive, invisible emotional baggage you have been carrying completely by yourself. His divine light reveals every hidden burden that has been silently crushing your exhausted spirit. He patiently sits beside those agonizing regrets and heavy sorrows that absolutely nobody else knows. Beautiful healing grace finally begins the exact moment your dark shame completely loses its power. He gently lifts you up, beautifully reminding your soul that mistakes are never your identity. Your beautiful life story is not finished yet, because his grace is writing new chapters. Divine mercy always speaks much louder than the heavy regret currently trapping your fragile mind. You can walk forward today because his perfect, unconditional grace is infinitely stronger than guilt. Grace does not pretend mistakes never happened, but gently reveals what truly belongs to you. You finally realize today that some massive, heavy weight was simply never yours to carry. Beautiful divine grace completely changes your broken perspective, allowing heavenly light to pierce the darkness. You can finally let go of those agonizing past mistakes that deeply crush your spirit. Jesus lovingly reminds your heart that you absolutely do not have to punish yourself forever. Your profound, painful brokenness absolutely does not cancel your immense, beautiful value in his eyes. An incredibly bright, beautifully restored future is still patiently waiting for your heavily exhausted soul. Jesus clearly shows that you are absolutely never meant to carry everything entirely by yourself. Perfect divine mercy gently invites complete emotional release, softly washing away your deepest hidden regrets. His beautiful grace effortlessly removes everything that your agonizing guilt endlessly keeps repeating inside today. Healing truth finally begins replacing that dark, overwhelming shame that successfully clouded your anxious mind. You can beautifully see yourself differently now, entirely reflecting his pure love instead of failure. Grace boldly declares that any past failure is absolutely never your true, lasting spiritual identity. Unconditional grace miraculously creates beautiful, vast room for your highly exhausted spirit to genuinely breathe. An incredible, entirely new beginning is beautifully possible when you safely surrender that heavy past. Profound, lasting forgiveness beautifully starts right here, simply by trusting his completely boundless, divine mercy. Releasing your massive, heavy emotional burden absolutely requires incredible courage from your very weary soul. True spiritual freedom beautifully begins the exact moment you willingly release those agonizing past mistakes. You absolutely do not have to stay trapped inside your own dark, unforgiving mental prison. Some deeply painful regrets must be completely surrendered to God for your heart to heal. You miraculously realize that not every single past mistake belongs in your bright new future. Beautiful, enduring hope begins growing rapidly inside your spirit whenever that heavy guilt finally leaves. Your beautifully fragile soul was wonderfully created for experiencing so much more than constant shame. Walking forward today feels incredibly safe because you know that you absolutely never walk alone. That suffocating, terrifying grip of old guilt finally begins losing its heavy hold over you. Taking a deep, calming breath miraculously allows your exhausted spirit to genuinely feel completely free. You bravely step away from those lingering dark shadows directly into his warm golden light. By finally dropping those invisible, heavy stones, you beautifully create vast, open space for peace. The agonizing pain of yesterday safely remains behind as you faithfully continue your gentle journey. His unconditional, perfect divine grace is infinitely stronger than any crushing regret you ever carried. Experiencing genuine emotional freedom feels slightly unfamiliar at first, after enduring such intensely long darkness. However, this beautiful sunny path of surrender is exactly where your profound, lasting healing continues. Beautiful healing finally begins arriving quietly, softly warming those tired hands once covered in chains. Genuine restoration happens without heavy pressure, allowing your weary soul to sit peacefully beside water. Instead of condemnation, his boundless grace spreads across your life like a beautiful, gentle sunrise. Your unique, deep emotional scars beautifully tell a powerful story of survival, not a failure. Your past mistakes are absolutely never an eternal sentence defining your fragile, healing heart today. True spiritual healing moves incredibly slowly, flowing peacefully like a gentle river through open countryside. Even when you feel entirely broken inside, beautiful new life miraculously returns through cracked ground. Profound inner strength slowly begins returning, empowering you to safely stand taller than ever before. The heavy fog of lingering guilt completely lifts, making your future path feel beautifully clear. That old, agonizing weight of self-blame safely remains resting untouched far behind your healing spirit. Through every single painful step forward today, you absolutely never walk this healing journey alone. A wonderful, enduring sense of hope begins rapidly expanding across your beautifully restored, quiet mind. You finally start seeing yourself entirely differently through his eyes within this peaceful, calm reflection. His perfect, unconditional grace completely transforms your identity, replacing heavy sorrow with a gentle smile. This incredible journey of spiritual recovery continues forward across a peaceful landscape, stretching endlessly ahead. Deep emotional healing becomes beautifully real as radiant, warm light safely surrounds your forward path. You finally step forward with confidence because you were absolutely never meant to live condemned. That dark, heavy old prison of endless guilt absolutely no longer holds your fragile spirit. Your beautiful focus completely changes as you courageously look forward instead of constantly glancing backward. Infinite, brilliant new possibilities beautifully return as this vast, breathtaking horizon fully opens before you. Genuine emotional freedom feels incredibly lighter when your open hands finally release that hidden pain. The massive, crushing burden permanently loses its dark power as you bravely leave this valley. Your totally exhausted, weary soul miraculously begins to breathe freely again under bright morning skies. Profound, lasting spiritual peace beautifully replaces that agonizing internal pressure you carried alone for years. His perfect divine grace steadily leads your cautious footsteps forward along this beautifully wide path. Your bright, entirely restored future is absolutely never permanently blocked by those heavy past mistakes. A genuine, beautiful smile returns because radiant, lasting hope miraculously feels incredibly possible here again. All those old, painful, heavy accusations finally fade away into the gentle, warm morning wind. An entirely new, beautiful chapter gracefully begins within this vibrant, spectacular field of brilliant light. You finally understand today that you are worth infinitely more than your absolute worst mistakes. His gentle, reassuring touch powerfully confirms that your fragile, healing soul is still deeply loved. True spiritual freedom beautifully becomes your exciting new direction as you faithfully walk forward together. The agonizing, heavy internal struggle finally begins to quiet down within your completely peaceful soul. Your intense, lingering guilt absolutely no longer controls every single anxious thought in your mind. Profound, enduring emotional peace slowly takes its rightful place inside your beautifully restored, quiet heart. That massive, invisible, heavy weight of blame has been completely and permanently released forever today. Your incredibly exhausted, weary soul begins to genuinely feel significantly lighter as true freedom arrives. His perfect, unconditional, divine grace keeps moving you forward through this beautiful, deeply calm valley. You finally stop fighting yourself and gently allow complete, lasting spiritual healing into your spirit. You courageously start accepting the beautiful, boundless mercy that safely surrounds your entire existence now. Your fragile, beautifully recovering heart genuinely feels completely safe, resting inside this brilliant, warm light. Dark, agonizing, heavy shame absolutely no longer defines the beautiful reflection you see every day. Because His perfect, faithful grace remains permanently present, you never have to face tomorrow alone. Incredible, radiant spiritual hope becomes significantly stronger as the heavy storm clouds finally break apart. Even the most profoundly, deeply broken things can beautifully flourish again under His gentle care. Your completely exhausted, weary soul finally begins to genuinely rest after carrying so much pain. A brilliantly beautiful, incredibly peaceful, entirely new season is wonderfully beginning for your life today. And lasting, profound, gentle inner peace finally feels entirely possible within your fully restored heart. Jesus gently speaks one final, beautiful truth directly into your profoundly exhausted, healing spirit today. He lovingly reminds your heart that you are absolutely never defined by your worst mistakes. You were always deeply cherished, even during those incredibly dark, terribly isolating, heavy hidden seasons. Your beautiful life story is vastly bigger than all those heavy failures you constantly carried. His endless, divine grace beautifully restores absolutely everything that your agonizing guilt previously condemned entirely. You can finally stand tall again because His pure mercy miraculously heals your broken foundation. A wonderful, clear path opens today, inviting you to move forward without carrying that baggage. That dark, suffocating mental prison door remains completely open, allowing you to walk outside freely. He extends His gentle hand toward a beautifully bright future where true, lasting freedom waits. Your deeply exhausted soul was intentionally created for experiencing so much more than constant regret. A genuinely magnificent, entirely new spiritual beginning becomes beautifully possible inside this warm, radiant light. You are bravely stepping entirely away from the heavy past, taking one confident step today. True, enduring emotional healing continues unfolding gently across this incredibly peaceful, brilliantly illuminated golden countryside. A profound, quiet inner peace permanently remains safely anchored deep inside your completely restored mind. His perfectly faithful divine presence permanently guarantees that you will absolutely never walk forward alone. Your beautiful, unwritten future remains incredibly full of radiant hope, boundless mercy, and endless grace. A bright, authentic smile finally returns because his unconditional love completely changed your entire story. He gently reassures your weary spirit that you are profoundly, infinitely, and completely loved forever. Every single heavy mistake is perfectly forgiven within this brilliant, massive, endlessly warm morning light. Your completely open hands successfully release all hidden pain, meaning you are finally, truly free. You can safely leave that terrible, exhausting guilt permanently behind as you continue walking together. Now you can genuinely rest, living beautifully within the eternal, lasting freedom of His grace.